What did Paris really look like on an ordinary morning in 1789 before the revolution had a name? More importantly, what did it feel like, wet stone underfoot? Wood smoke in the air, bodies pressed close as the city woke. And what happens when a place this crowded starts measuring every day in bread? Rumors and patience running out today. I'm going to step through Paris street by street, using modern AI reconstructions and contemporary accounts, so you can see, hear, and almost touch the city just before it tips. Stay with me to the end, and I'll show what remains today. If you were standing here at dawn, just inside the old city gates, Paris wouldn't feel like a postcard. It would feel like a living machine that never fully sleeps. The streets are narrow. The walls lean in. Above you, windows are still dark, but you can hear movement behind them, feet on wood. A latch, a cough, a child crying and then going quiet again. There isn't much room to breathe. Carts squeeze past shoulders. A horse shifts in place and steam rises off its back. Everything smells close, damp stone. Yesterday's ash, sour wine, sweat trapped under wool. You move through it, not across it. Step by step, the city pulls you forward. And Paris is crowded in a way that matters. Thousands of people packed into tight neighborhoods means every small shortage becomes everyone's problem at once. Food can't be an abstract thing here. It has to arrive. It has to be baked. It has to be carried through these streets before the day even starts. So listen for what the morning revolves around. Not church bells, not palace news. Bread. You'll hear the word before you see a loaf. Someone mentions a baker. Someone asks about flour. Someone says they waited yesterday and went home empty-handed. The conversations are quiet, but they repeat, like a rhythm you can't unhear. It's worth slowing down and focusing on the way people look at each other. Not angry yet, just measuring, watching hands, watching baskets. Because in a city this dense, tension doesn't have to travel far. It just has to change direction. For now, keep moving with the current downhill toward the markets, where the first lines form before the sun clears the rooftops. The air brightens, but the worry shows. You can feel it collecting in the corners. It starts before the bakery even opens. A line forms in the half-light, pressed against a shuttered wall. Bodies turned inward to keep warm and to keep their place. No one says good morning. They watch the door. They watch each other's hands. And when the smell finally leaks out yeast, smoke, heat, it doesn't calm anyone. It tightens the room in your chest. Because bread here isn't a side dish. It's the meal. For working families in Paris, it's what fills the gap when there's nothing else to fill it with. So price isn't a number on a chalkboard. It's time. It's hunger. It's whether a mother walks home with something in her basket or with an empty cloth folded tight like a shame. Britannica records that in January 1789, the price of a 4-pound loaf jumped from 8 sous to 14 sous. That difference sounds small until you picture it in this line: a few more coins, and the loaf moves just out of reach. The person behind you shifts forward. You shift back. Someone whispers that the baker is holding loaves for better customers. Someone else says the flour never even made it to this street. No one has proof. They don't need it. In a crowded city, the gap between a rumor and a certainty is about as wide as this alley. It's worth slowing down and focusing on the faces as the door finally opens. Relief flashes first, then calculation. Then the quiet question everyone is asking without saying it: if bread can vanish, what else can? For now, Stay with the line as it begins to move, and listen to what the waiting turns into once people start talking. And that shock, this isn't just food, it's a verdict. Every loaf feels like a judgment on who matters in the city. Follow that feeling past the bakery, toward the market stalls where the whispers get louder. Once the bread is gone, the line doesn't disappear. It dissolves into the streets. People peel away in small groups, and the city starts doing what it does best, passing information hand to hand, breath to breath. If you follow them a few steps, you end up in a doorway where the air is warmer and the light is thin. A wine shop, a corner table, someone leaning in, voice low. You catch fragments more than sentences. They're buying up the grain, not the farmers, the ones with carts and locks. I heard it never even reached Paris. No, it reached Paris. It just didn't reach us. Rumor moves differently than news. It doesn't arrive all at once. It accumulates. It repeats until it feels true, not because anyone has evidence, but because the story fits the shape of the hunger. And the hunger is the key. In a city like this, when people don't eat, they don't just feel weak. They feel watched. They feel cheated. Every closed door starts to look intentional. Every delay starts to look like a decision. So the whispers widen. The court doesn't understand. The court doesn't care. The royal family is far away, surrounded by comfort. And the distance feels like an insult you can measure in footsteps and empty purses. None of it is verified. Some of it will be exaggerated, but notice what's happening. Paris is building a shared explanation for why the day is hard. It's worth slowing down and focusing on how ordinary it still looks. People are still buying vegetables. Children still run between baskets. A vendor still argues over coins. There's no riot in the street yet. Just a city talking to itself, trying to turn confusion into clarity. And that's what makes it dangerous. When official answers feel absent, the unofficial ones become the map. They tell you who to blame. They tell you what to expect. They tell you what kind of day this will be. For now, move with the crowd toward the market corners where the voices overlap, because once a rumor becomes common knowledge, it stops being a rumor at all. Markets are where Paris thinks out loud. Under awnings and between crates, the city's private worries become shared language. A price is shouted. A basket is weighed, a customer hesitates, and each small moment lands like a signal things are tightening. If you were walking here back then, you'd notice how quickly people start comparing. Not just coins, but lives. Who got served first? Who got turned away? Who can afford to wait? Who can't? And this is the part that's easy to miss if you only look for speeches or banners. The early force isn't ideology. It's coordination. It's the way a crowded city learns to move together when the daily problem is the same for everyone. There isn't much distance between a line at a bakery and a crowd at a market. They feed into each other. People recognize faces. They trade stories. They repeat the same names. They begin to agree on what's unfair, even if they don't agree on why. It's worth slowing down and focusing on the geography of it. Paris is dense and loud, packed into tight streets that funnel people into the same few places. When pressure builds, it doesn't spread out. It concentrates. And that simple fact shapes what comes next. Because once a city can gather, it can also march. Not today. Not in this moment. Here, it still looks ordinary, vendors calling, carts rolling, children weaving through legs, but you can already see the outline of a future day when ordinary stops holding. Later in 1789, on October 5th, women will set out from Paris and head toward Versailles, driven by the same basic fear you can hear in these markets: bread that costs too much, bread that isn't there, a life that feels decided somewhere far away. Versailles isn't just a place, it's distance made visible. For now, keep your eyes on the streets between them, Because revolutions don't begin with a single step. They begin when a city learns it can take one together. If you pull back now, away from the bakery door and the market corners, Paris starts to look different. The noise blends into a single, low hum. Rooftops pile up against the sky. Smoke hangs over the city in thin layers, caught between buildings like breath that can't leave. And from up here, the day seems almost normal. People move, carts roll, bells ring, the river keeps going. But that's the point. A city doesn't look like it's about to change the world. It looks like itself, right up until it can't. Paris in 1789 hasn't exploded yet. It's not marching in this moment. It's not shouting in the streets. It's waiting. And the waiting is heavy. Because the pressure isn't coming from one dramatic event, it's coming from repetition. Another morning, another line, another price that feels wrong, another rumor that fills the gap where answers should be. In a place this dense, those small stresses don't fade. They stack, they press inward, they turn ordinary life into something brittle. It's worth noticing how history works in a city like this. It doesn't erase what was here. It adds itself on top. New names over old streets, new meanings over familiar corners. The stones don't change, but what people remember on them does. If you walk through Paris today, you can still find places where the streets tighten, where the buildings lean in, where crowds collect without thinking about why. The city has been rebuilt and repainted and rewritten, but it's still carrying its earlier selves beneath the surface. And that's what I wanted to show you. Not just the facts of 1789, but the feeling of it, how a normal day can hold a future inside it. So if we could step through time again, where should we go next? Another city on the edge, another street before it changes. Tell me what scene you want to walk through, and we'll bring it back to life.